Experts have been warning us about AGI, and it's been assumed that GPT's o3 model is the closest we've ever been to AGI. So today I want to show you how you can get o3 from GPT inside of your Xano instance to build AI agents, to automate your APIs, and to get AGI on your backend. Let's take a look at that. It's super simple with Zano, the no-code backend, and we're going to do a lot of exciting automations today. Let's take a look at this. So right now I'm on the GPT page as a developer logged in, and keep in mind that because o3 is so powerful, you need to actually verify your identity with your passport to get access to it. So I did this today from my iPhone. I sent them my password. I hope they're not going to use that to generate AI photos of my documents, but I sent it to them, they verified my account, and now I got exclusive access after going through this whole process to get access to it, to this model, which is believed to be the closest that we've ever been to AGI. Let's take a look at this. So I got the model here, and now we want to set this up on Xano. Now the first step will be, of course, getting your API key, and what I've already done is I already set up my API key here in Xano as an environment variable. So just keep in mind you want to set that up. You can just go on manage, add that inside of here so it's securely stored. Now I want to actually create this as a reusable AGI function. So let's go to functions in Xano, which are pretty cool because they make me reuse those things across API endpoints. So I can now add a function, and I can call this AGI. There you go. And now I can save this, and I got my AGI function. And now I can create an input called prompt. Prompt. There you go. And it will be required. Now we're going to create this as a function, which is going to make it fully reusable. And then I'm going to show you how you can get data from your backend into it to do exciting stuff. So let's add a function inside of here, and we want to create this as an external API request. Now we need to import the curl. That's the easiest way how we can connect Xano with OpenAI. So now we want to go to OpenAI's documentation, to their API reference, and we want to take a look at chat completions and then create chat completion. You got it all right inside of here. Now I want to copy their example request, and as you can see, I can also select the model. I can do o3, and interesting, o3. There you go. And we see we only have o3 mini because that's the only one available to the public. But because we're going to talk about true AGI, I'm just going to click on mini, but then we're actually going to take the model that's the one that you have to send them your personal information, your documents, to actually get access to it because it's so powerful. So let's copy this here and let's paste the curl command here. This is kind of like the way how we can connect Xano with OpenAI's server to get that connection going. So I'm just going to import this code, right? And I just copy paste, fully no code. And now Xano is going to build this automatically together into an easy to edit request. And the only thing that we want to do is we want to provide a system prompt and we want to provide a user prompt. So I have the prompt here. I can actually, adjust this to be user_prompt, right? And then I want to, it's optional. I can add a text here, system_prompt. So you can provide system context, but that's optional, right? So then I can go to my formula inside of here, and we need to go to the model first. Let's click on the model and let's change it to the one that you need to, need to get access to. It's kind of exclusive because it's so powerful. So if we go at the o3 page of the overview page that you can see right inside of here, right? What we need to do is we need to go all the way down here and we need to get the model name. We can copy this model here, and if you are not verified as an enterprise or as an organization on OpenAI, you won't be able to use this model. You need to have an organization account, and you need to be able to provide your documents and have them verify it with a manual verification process to get access to that model. So now we got this model all set up inside of here. We have the role. This is the system prompt. So inside of here, I can just take the value, you are a helpful assistant, delete that, and with Xano's easy mapping system, just put the system prompt inside of here. So I can apply this, and then I'm going to go to the user, and I'm going to go to content here, and that will be the user prompt, right? So now we got a system prompt being supplied that provides system instructions and a user prompt with the actual operation. So now we got this function that we can then use in other Xano APIs to do really exciting stuff here. So let's continue here on authorization, and I'm going to change the type here. So I'm just going to copy the OpenAPI placeholder. I'm going to add a replace filter, super simple. I'm going to search for the template text here. And then I'm going to go to environment variables, and I'm going to take my OpenAI environment variable that contains the API key that's securely stored there. So let's apply this. And now I need to give it a very generous 60-second timeout, probably, because it's going to do some reasoning, so that can take some time. And now I can save this. Now I can run this, and I can say user prompt, hey, and we'll keep the system prompt empty. So now let's run this, and now we're going to get a response. And it's going to say, hey, how can I help you today? There you go. Now we want to define actually the response, because we don't want to return our API key here. So let's add a function here. Let's create a variable, and let's call this, let's just call this response, right? Response. And now I go to API 1, which is what we're running here. I can click on properties in Xano, and I can take the response. If you take a look, we got request and we got response. And then in the response, we got headers and result. We want the result, and then we want choices, and we want to take this one here. So I can go on the two properties. I'll take the response, right? This one here. Then I want to have the result, this one here. Then I want to go to choices, this one here. Right? Oh, choices. And then I want to take the first choice, and I want to take the message, and I want to take the content, right? So I'm only getting the text. And then we want this text that has been extracted to be returned by Xano. So I'm going to click on the response, and I'm going to click inside of here, and I'm going to just delete the text and return the response. I'm going to save that. I can publish that function. I just wanted to say API, but it's going to be actually a nicely reusable function. I can run this again, and there you go. So now I have an input and an output, and it's fully reusable. So I got my function, and now I can use this to build AI agents, which will be very cool. So let's take a look. What kind of database do I have in here that makes sense to query? I got some leads. Okay, I got a fake lead database here, right? And let's say I want to be able to get information about the companies that my leads work for. So we can build a little thing like this. So let's do this, right? Let's take Martha, for example. Let's copy her ID, and let's build a little AI agent to learn more about our customers. So let's create an API group, AI agent, and you can use this in any automation that you can build on the backend now. Let's save this. Let's create a new API endpoint, and let's call this agent/automation. There you go. It's going to be a GET request, or probably a POST actually for best practices, because we want to do GET if we're getting existing data, POST if we're creating new data. But because we are using AI to generate new content, it would more than likely count as a POST for development best practices. So let's save this here, and then we're going to add an input here of ID, of the user ID. I'm going to make that required, right? And then I can put the ID inside of here. There you go. And now we need to go and do a get record based on the user ID. And I'm going to take my leads, and I can now go inside of here and get it based on the ID. And then I'm going to get my lead record here. Oh, for some reason I did 2 times. I didn't want it to do this. Oh, and I can't delete it. It's 2 times in there. That's weird. Okay. Now it's gone. Okay. That was weird. Let's add a stop and debug inside of here for debugging purposes. It's a very cool tool to kind of like go in here and return leads 1. So it stops everything under it. So you only get that return for debugging. And as you can see, it says invalid record because I deleted the one that actually worked. So let's map this with the input of ID, run this again, and now I'm getting Martha. There you go. So now I got this data from Martha. And what I want to do is I can now call my agent. Something just fell in the background. But now I can call my AGI agent with my custom function. And I can do a system prompt. The system prompt can be something like, you are an internal agent to write to find information about the company my lead is working for, and give me an array of keywords for that company. Now it's probably not that much of a real-time use case, but you get the idea. Now the user prompt will be the lead information. Now we can't send this as JSON, so we need to package that JSON so we can send it to the AI. So I'm going to do JSON encode to turn it into JSON text, because when we send things to AI, it has to be text. Let's save this, and then we got this custom function here, which will return as AGI, as function 1 actually. So now, if I'm going to run this here, I'm going to do the query for Martha, and then I'm going to put it into my agent that I built in Xano. And as you can see, I'm going to get an array back with all the services that their company provides. And now I could go, I could do a really cool thing here where I can go then into the database and update it in her record. So you could do a great automation for this to kind of like use AI agents to automate our backend. So let's go to the leads database and let's add inside of here a text field of keywords for all of our leads. And we're going to make it a list so we can add keywords for all of our leads, the industries that they work in, right? And now we would need to adjust this a little bit because we wouldn't do this by ID. So let's delete the ID, right? And now inside of here, I can just simply do a query all records, just like this. I'm going to take all my leads, and then I'm going to get all the lead records. Now I'm going to add this loop here, which it automatically suggested it, and I'm going to call this item lead in the loop. There you go. So now I can delete this get record, and now let's move the AGI inside of here, and let's move the stop and debug under leads. So if I now take a look at the stop and debug here under leads 2, and I save this and run this, you can see that I'm getting a list of all the leads, right? And if I move now the stop and debug, let's take the stop and debug. If I move it in the loop, and I'm returning now in the loop, let's do this here. If I'm going to return lead, only 1, as you can see, I'm getting this one item. So now what I want to do is I want to go to the AGI function and, put lead inside of here with this JSON for every lead. And then I want to JSON encode this and then have it provide the keywords, right? So now if we move the stop and debug here under, I wanted to move it under the custom function. It can move it under. Oh, there you go. Now it's under. If I move it under there, and if I'm going to return the result from the function here and run this, as you can see, it can take a little bit, right? But now I can just run this here with the function, and as you can see, I'm getting all those back, right? So now I can go inside of here and do an edit record, and I can edit the record in the leads database, and I can take a look by lead.id because we're looping over the item, and then I can go to the keywords, and I can just take the response from our little AI agent that we can now reuse in our APIs to build agentic workflows. And we can save this, and then now we're updating this in the database. So I can just actually delete the stop and debug and just add at the end the word success, because we're not trying to return anything necessarily. Now, when you work with AI, there's some rate limits, so it can make sense to add a little sleep function of 15 seconds when you do those things asynchronously to avoid any limits that the AI may have to kind of like rate limiting and all those kinds of things. So now we have an agentic workflow that if it runs, and we could run this as a background task, whatever you want to do, and it creates actually keywords for our database. Now we probably want to have logic in here to only create keywords if it's not created yet, of course, but this is just the idea of how far you can go to kind of like automate some of your endpoints to provide more information to user inputted data to build AI agents directly in Xano using advanced AI models with reasoning capabilities. Let's run this here. And as you can see, as we're running this agentic workflow now, and if we're going to refresh the lead database, you see how it starts adding stuff, and it's just doing the work, right? It added already the first record. It will now be working on the second one. As you can see, it's still running. And now we just see, if we just refresh a little bit, how things are being updated in the database. It will, we're now at that point where we do the 15-second delay to avoid any timeouts. But, any few seconds where I'm going to refresh, we will get the next one. Now, AI agentic automations will probably not be the fastest, especially if you're implementing things like timeouts or like, kind of like to delay those a little bit to avoid any of the rate limits. But as you can see, it just does the work, and I can open it here. And as you can see, we got some parsing issues. Oh, that's fun. So this is always something where you want to improve your prompt, because as you can see, the first one, it did it beautifully. As you can see, we got those things in the database nicely inside of here, right? Now the issue though is inside of here, it just kind of like started talking to us. So while AI automations are great, and you see, it just only works like most of the time. So how do we prevent those things from happening? Because this is good, this is good, this is good, this is kind of trash. So for this, we want to kind of like test it first. That's the only way how we can really, make sure that what we're doing actually will work. And then we just got to improve the prompt. And this is where prompt engineering comes in, right? So we can make this bigger, and I can write in caps, only return the array of strings, nothing else, no other text. And then, I'm going to improve this prompt from my agentic workflow. So I can publish this then again, and we still have it running in the background. It will run for a little bit because I have a big database here, as you can see. But now if we were to clear all the fields, and it will still run in the background, but if we clear the ones that we already have, and we will now try this again, we will see that we're going to now have a way better prompt that's going to get all those things nicely set up for us. So if I just really quick refresh this thing running here in the background, right? And I'm going to run this inside of here again. And we're going to take a look at, how it produces it. Now everything moving forward, besides the old ones that are still running through, because we're kind of like right now running two APIs at the same time, they will all be nicely formatted because of the new enhanced prompt, right? And then you can also work with a Lambda function to kind of like build a little algorithm to make sure that the AI response is accurate and kind of like clean it up. There are lots of things that you can do. There are lots of things how you can bring AI agents to Xano. You don't need to use, those tools like N8N, which are, going to be upcharging you for just using their infrastructure. Your Xano server is more than capable of doing those agentic workflows. And with functions and O3, you can bring very good AI systems in here, as you can see, to automate some of those things that, for example, a data entry clerk would do, right? For those things, look them up and put some keywords in there. You may would have hired a VA to do this, and now you can outsource this using agentic workflows in Xano, and it gets even more comprehensive when you start combining this with background tasks that Xano is really good at. So you can really build agentic automations for your data sets. As you can see, it does the work for me. I can lean back and it just does the work. And this is very cool how you can automate your backend to have AI agents do your work. And if you have a good prompt and you can try around with those things, you can just really lean back and you can retire yourself and have AI do your work. There you go. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And Xano is more than capable of handling this very well with their robust function stack, with how you can use functions to kind of like reuse this, because this function here can be reused in every API, in every database trigger, in every sub function that I may want to use, right? Or in every API or in a background task. So this is amazing, right? And you can do things like you could work with table triggers, right? Triggers to, if I manually enter a new person in the table, it's going to use AI to send them an email, a personalized email, and all those kinds of things. Or if a new user logs in, it can detect if they have a corporate email like at philips.com, like Stuart, or at Qualcomm, right? It can then send them, based on what their company is doing, a personalized onboarding email. There's just lots of things that you can do with AI agents in Xano. And as you can see, with a good prompt, you're more than able to do those agentic workflows. And you can also, build applications in Xano to offer some of that functionality to your users. So you could build a no-code tool for AI agents inside of Xano as the foundation, and then white label that to your users. So there are lots of things how you can do amazing AI stuff in Xano. And if you want to learn more about that, oh, we got one, but I think that's one of the old ones still. I think that's one of the old ones. Because we had some old ones run through. Remember when we had the first API and then the second API started? So I think this must have been the last one from the old one. But the new ones moving forward should be all fine, right? So, but there you have it, right? So if you want to learn more about those things, definitely make sure to follow this YouTube channel. And if you are maybe stuck at implementing such things where it comes to more advanced AI automations on the back end and you're using Xano, or you're stuck at some of the parts of the front end, or when it comes to bringing NPM packages in, or some of the harder JavaScript parts of development, I would highly suggest you take a look at my daily office hours at nocodeprocode.com. We're here to help you make better progress faster by just, helping you with some expert advice in our daily office hours to just in group Zoom meetings overcome some of those toughest roadblocks out there, especially when it comes to AI, right? We definitely also focus on when it comes to AI automations, when you're building an AI SaaS, all that kind of stuff. Take a look at it, but thank you so much for watching this video. This is how you automate your backend and retire yourself. And definitely, feel free to share this video with other people and let me know in the comments what you're going to automate. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.